Hey guys, how's it going? I've just got back from holiday and in this video I'm going to show you what I ate while I was away. And I'm going to show you why each meal was or wasn't eczema safe. I'm also going to show you how my eczema looked each day and we're going to track it as we go along. I'm going to touch on a fair few points without going into too much detail on any of them. If you have any questions or like me to expand on an element in a bit more detail or do a specific video on that in the future, please let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video and want more eczema healing content, please like and subscribe. I'm healing my eczema naturally without any lotions and potions while living a pretty normal, typical lifestyle. And it'd be really cool if we could grow the channel as much as possible to help as many people with eczema as possible. And follow me on my eczema healing journey. All right, cool, here we go. Okay, so first up on day one, we went to the airport early, went to the lounge, we got a free breakfast. This is what we got. This isn't going to be great for me, obviously. We got sausages and bacon and a weird hash brown. They're all going to be super processed. There's going to be preservatives in the bacon and sausages, and the hash brown's going to be loaded with oil. The eggs, there might have also been some milk in the eggs. They tasted like it could have been. I just had a little bit of everything. Yeah, and that's what I had with my first meal. On holiday, I had a drink with just about every single meal, and I was drinking between meals as well. For me, the worst part isn't actually the alcohol itself, it's what they serve with it. You'll always get some little peanuts or some corn or some random little nibbles. They're always going to be, pretty rubbish for you. The peanuts have got really poor sunflower oil on them, so the salt sticks to them effectively. You've also got deep fried corn, which is just never going to be good, and you've also got kind of like a maize covered peanut situation, which is just ultra processed foods. They give you these all the time and it's so hard to avoid them, but please, I beg you, try to avoid them. Just try to resist because they are just never going to be good. On to our first evening meal, I had a seafood paella. This I think should have been a relatively safe option. It's got no dairy, it's got no gluten in it. The only main thing I'm concerned with is the state of the fish. Now we're staying in Greece, we're on the coast, I'm expecting lots of really fresh fish. Fish is really, really, really bad for histamines. Unless it's caught super, super fresh, it's loaded with it. And basically you can tell that, the way it tastes. If it tastes fishy, it's just not going to be good quality. Unfortunately, pretty much everything in this meal tasted really fishy. So yeah, not the best one. I'll take the L and move on. Okay, so this is the first day of the holiday. So we had a day traveling, day of the holiday now. And this is what my skin looks like at the very beginning. We're in the morning. I've got a quick video. You can see it's not too bad. It's not too red. And you can see it mainly on my elbows. The inside of my left elbow, there's an outline near the crease. On my right elbow, you can tell just in the crease, it looks a little bit red as well. Overall, my collarbones and shoulders, it's not too bad. It's not flaky. That's from my previous video. I've overcome that. That was a few weeks ago, but yeah, 2 or 3 weeks. That's how long it's taken me to heal it. And yeah, this gives us just an overview of what it looks like at the very beginning of the holiday. Now moving on to dinner. We had some small plates. Our first small plate was a plate of beans. Unfortunately, these were really hard. They tasted like they were pretty much just out of a can and they weren't fully cooked. For me, there's a bit of a no-no. When beans aren't cooked thoroughly, when they're soft, you can't squeeze them in your hand and just make them into a nice fine paste. Yeah, ideally, well, really they're not cooked properly. And that is bad for my digestion and that 100% makes my flare. So I stayed away from these. Also had some tomatoes. Tomatoes are super high in salicylates and they're also quite bad for pesticides. So you've got to be careful with them. I'm at the moment where I'm not reacting to salicylates, so I can enjoy tomatoes in moderation. Tomatoes are, however, a nightshade, so I do have them in moderation. When I'm flaring or if I'm struggling, I stay away from nightshades in their entirety. Next up that came along was some meatballs. Again, this is super simple, beef and lamb meatballs, just in a tomato sauce. So yeah, really simple stuff. You'll notice you've got no chips, no potatoes, no fried foods. When you're away on holiday, that stuff is everywhere, and I was really conscious to not have a single bit of it. And then the third dish we had was tamales, which is a flavoured rice wrapped in vine leaves. These are pretty safe. Rice is really safe for a lot of people, unless you have candida, but for me personally, I find it a really stable option. Citrus fruits are high in histamine, so as long as you're not having it with every single meal and lots of it, a little drizzle here and there, should be absolutely fine. It is for me. And yeah, I use that just to flavour it. Okay, moving on to breakfast the next day. Eggs, sausages, meats, and some fruits and salads. So going around this whole dish, the eggs were fine. I do not react to eggs, so this was a safe choice. They did have a little bit of butter in them. Butter is okay for me, but just not in excess quantities. There's very low levels of lactose in butter. It's mainly fat, so it's limiting my exposure to casein, the protein that makes my eczema flare, and I can't digest very well. So the eggs were safe enough. The processed meats I stayed away from. This is rubbish. I've had plenty of it before in my stag do. Here's that video if you want to see the effects of the stag do on my skin and how I overcame it. So yeah, loaded with histamines, preservatives and all that kind of stuff, so don't need to go into. Salad, no problem with the salad. It was with extra virgin olive oil and a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Super clean, not too bad. And then the fruits. Interestingly enough, strawberries are really bad for histamines. They're loaded with them. Also can be very dirty, by which I mean they're covered in weed killer or pesticides. It's often the dirtiest fruit that you can have, so be wary of that. Quick look at how my skin looks like now. You can see it's quite dry and pale in the creases. It's not red, it's not inflamed. As I said in my previous video, when your skin is dry, elephant skin, flaky, that is a sign to show that it's healing. When it's red and itchy, you're in the middle of the eczema presenting itself in the beginning of the phase. So this doesn't really concern me. I'm quite happy with how this looks. I think going in the sea and the salt water has helped me look a bit flaky and initiate some of the healing phase, so quite happy with this. On to dinner, and we tried to keep it really simple. Started off with the salad. The salad had some olive oil in for the vinaigrette, which was nice. It had some walnuts, some parmesan, which I ate around, and sun-dried tomatoes. Sun-dried tomatoes, unfortunately, were in sunflower oil, which is a little bit unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. I did have a little bit of the parmesan, but I mainly ate around it. I also didn't have any of the bacon. You see that in the bowl, left that alone. Then we also got a side of meatballs. Unfortunately, these meatballs were covered in cheese. So I thought they'd be similar to what we had the previous evening, but wasn't quite to be. I just ate around the cheese, and yeah, this was very simple, pretty clean, eczema safe, apart from the cheese. And then for my main course, I had a lamb shank with some mashed potatoes. The mashed potatoes did have some butter in it, but that's not the end of the world. I do want to periodically have some dairy in my diet. I don't want to go completely cold turkey. I am at the moment dairy free, but I know that introducing dairy from absolute zero is much harder to tolerate than having a little bit here and there. Let's check in with how my skin looks today. On my left elbow, you can see that the eczema is dying down. It's quite pale. On the outside of my arm, it looks good. There's no creases. Happy with it. On my right arm, you can see in the very creases a tiny bit red, but overall it's not itchy. It's not really red raw. It doesn't feel like actual eczema. So I'm very happy with this. Can't really complain. So the next day, I was pretty hungry. At the hotel, we had a salad. I got a smoked salmon salad with some quinoa. It came with a mango sauce or vinaigrette dressing. I didn't really know what this was made out of. It was oil-based, so I'm presuming rapeseed oil or sunflower oil. There's no reason why it would have been olive oil. Eating out, whether you're in hotels or restaurants, whatever, cheap oils are usually used because they're so much cheaper, obviously, than olive oil. So yeah, sunflower oil, rapeseed oil. I really try and avoid them. They're highly inflammatory. They do trigger my eczema. So I was quite nervous about eating this. So with that in mind, I wanted to make sure that my dinner that evening was super clean, or as clean as I could make it. Salad for starters, and tomatoes on the side. I had not reacted at all to the tomatoes from the previous night, so I figured they were a safe bet. For mains, super simple. I just had a whole sea bass with some salads. And then this is what my skin looks like. I'm super happy with this. It's really comfortable. It's not red. It's not itchy. Left elbow there, very little signs of eczema. On my right elbow, some of the redness from the day before has died down. What we do have now, you see as my tan is coming on, is the pale patches of where the eczema is. But it's not itchy, it's not red, it's not inflamed. I'm pretty happy with how this is at the moment. Having said all of that, the biggest regret of the single thing that I ate on holiday was this. So I had some sorbet, raspberry and chocolate sorbet. It was really nice. I thought, you know what, I'm on my holidays, gotta treat myself, what's the worst thing that can happen? And yeah, after I had this, that's when I had a night itch. And it's the first night itch that I'd had in quite a few weeks. Both my elbows when I woke up were a little bit raw. I've been scratching in the night. And yeah, it's really quite disappointed with myself there. This is purely triggered by the sugar in these sorbets, super high in sugar. My eczema isn't controlled by Candida at the moment, but having anything in high sugar, whether it's sweets or ice cream or sorbet or whatever, it's never going to be good. And yeah, this is one of those instances where I did regret it. Now, despite the sorbet that I had yesterday and the itch that I had during the night, later that day, this is what my skin looked like. And it's not actually that bad. It was slightly more red in the morning, but come evening time, it's not inflamed, it's not itchy or doesn't sting with the sweat. So yeah, quite happy with how it is. And then for dinner that night, had lamb shank again, this time with rice. This was really nice, slightly more clean than the lamb shank I had previously, with potatoes and butter. Potatoes were nightshades. You'll notice that all my meals, I don't have a side of potatoes, a side of chips, a side of crisps. I try and leave those out. This came with rice, which is fine for me. I draw my rice, super clean. This is a good meal, eczema safe. So coming towards the end of the trip now, my skin's looking pretty good. I'm happy with it. For lunch, I ordered just a side portion of meatballs, thinking that it would be similar to what we've had on the previous few days. I made sure there's no cheese on it. I thought it might be in a nice little sauce or something, so yeah, nice and clean. Unfortunately, these meatballs were slightly different. They weren't in a sauce, and I'm pretty sure they were deep fried. So they're crispy all around the outside, and you can't get that in an oven. Like, if you put meat in the oven, it's not crispy all the way around, all the outside, so it's a perfect ball as well. So I think these were deep fried, so a little bit disappointing. I had half of these because I didn't want to have the whole thing. And yeah, so this is what my skin looks like now. You can see on my left elbow, it's quite clear where the eczema is. Along the inside of the bicep, there's quite a clear outline there. And on my right arm, you can quite clearly see lots of dots of where the eczema is. Now, as my tan is coming through, it just defines where the eczema is a little bit more. None of it's red, none of it's itchy, it's quite comfortable, so I'm okay with it. I'm starting to feel that everything I've eaten on the trip so far hasn't really been perfect, so my skin is starting to fluctuate a little bit, but it's not too bad considering. Final dinner was a seafood risotto. At the moment I can tolerate tomatoes, so I wasn't really too fussed about the tomatoes in this. Previously, when I've been struggling with salicylates, I would have avoided tomatoes, but these were okay, so yeah, all good. And then for the final time, this is what my skin looks like. So I'm really happy with this. I've drunk every day. You can see that there's no redness, it's not itchy, there are no hives. They're slightly pale where the eczema is, my tan has come through. But other than that, eczema is really controllable and I'm quite happy with this. You can see the back of my neck, it's not dry like it was in my previous video, that has been healed. And yeah, my arms aren't dry or red or flaky, so I'm very happy with that.